Come with me on the tasty trail with Benjamin.
Chegou, sorriu, venceu, depois chorou, então fui eu quem consolou sua tristeza na certeza de que o amor tem dessas fases mais e é bom para fazer as pazes, mas depois.
Hello and welcome to Jeonju, the capital of the North Jeolla Province. You know, Jeonju is a beautiful place, just like this one, which is the Jeonju, or the Confucian Shrine of Jeonju. Jeonju is the hometown of the last dynasty kings, the Yi family. That's not why we came to Jeonju. We came here because it's the capital of the Bibimbap, and Bibimbap is a very famous Korean dish of mixed rice with vegetables. So, we are going to discover that and much more together. Come with me. That's the place. Come with me. Yeah. Do you know what Michael Jackson, Gwyneth Paltrow, Paris Hilton, Pierre Gagnère have in common? The bibimbap, the mixed rice with vegetable and meat dish, which is so popular in Korea and now around the world. What is it? Here you have everything. Look, this is wonderful. This is the map of Korea. You have here all the ingredients, the rice and a lot of different vegetables with some meat. Here it is some beef mixed together. That's the spirit of the bibim culture or the mixing culture of the bibimbap. Of course, I know the bibimbap, you know, in Seoul we have a lot, but this is Jeonju, this is the mecca of bibimbap. So I really wonder how it is different and how they serve it. So I'm really excited. So now it's my turn to enjoy the bibimbap, the Jeonju bibimbap. Look at that. It's so beautiful that in the area of Jeonju we call it hwaban, which means the flower rice. It's as beautiful as a blooming flower. So it's a lot of different namul or seasoned vegetables with other ingredients like meat. Today it's beef. And also, very important, the gochujang, which is the red hot chili pepper paste. We put also some of the chamgireum, which is the sesame oil for seasoning, and you mix well. So let's start it. Look at the center, you have a raw egg. We are going to mix with the rice. You know what's the signification of bibimbap? It comes from the verb bibida, which means a lot of things in Korean. Basically, bibida, this is something like that, but it became also this action of mixing together by rubbing. So this is the pap or rice that you rub with other ingredients. And when it's well mixed, then you can enjoy it. You have a slightly spicy aftertaste, but not too much. It's not overwhelming. It's just bringing some strength to the taste. Here you have everything: vegetables, fibers, and a lot of proteins, but not too much. Only 500 calories. So this is perfect for diet. At the same time, you don't feel hungry thanks to the rice and the plentiness of ingredients. A lot of vegetables, so it's healthy. A little bit of meat, just enough to give you the the animal proteins you need, but not too much. That's why, you know, stars like Nicolas Cage or Paris Hilton, Gwyneth Paltrow have been like recently fans of the bibimbap all around the world. Here we are in the secret laboratory of the chef of the bibimbap master. Look at this beautiful pot. And here you have the beef broth. But let's find the chef. And I say, oh, wow. Very fresh, beautiful. Please have a look at that. This is very fresh and beautiful vegetables. Look at these wonderful cucumbers, the color, the dark green color. This incredible spinach. That's fern, you know, like beautiful, almost like fresh. Of course, they come in spring, but they look very fresh. This is the Korean parsley, or dropwort, minari. It's very fragrant, you know, crispy, and a very fresh, refreshing taste. This one are the soybean sprout. And you know this one, of course, it's the beef. The ingredients look beautiful, and I think that's part of the secret of this house. Freshness, freshness, and freshness. And some egg at the center, and here you have all the ingredients of the bibimbap. Plus, don't forget to put the gochujang, the paste, and the chamkiram, the sesame oil, and the rice. That's the final result. You see? So here I am in the Bibimbap Museum, and that's a good place to try to explain or find out the origin of the bibimbap. There are three theories. One of them is that it originated with the sacrificial food, the food that you give to the deceased spirits or the god spirits. You know, it's not always easy to bring all the food when you go to a mountain temple or like a shrine, so it was easier to bring everything in one bowl. And some people say also that the food that is left after the ritual is mixed or was mixed in a bowl to share by the family or by the people who held the rite. The other theory is around the court food. People say that the king enjoyed 4 different kinds of rice. A little bit like, you know, when you are in the plane, they propose you a chicken or fish, so he had the choice between 4 different kinds of rice every day. One of them was the bibimbap, which was for the king a perfect lunch or a light meal. It was a favorite among the kings and the noblemen, also because it was easy to eat, and it was also a very good way to open the appetite when the king was not feeling very well. And here we have the last and the third theory, which is, I think, the real one, the real origin of the bibimbap. You find it here in the farming culture. Workers working in the fields couldn't enjoy a real table with all the different banchan or side dishes with the different dishes. So they had to have one bowl, one dish to mix everything in it, all the ingredients, and then they could have, you know, during all the day, there are 2 or 3 different meals in one plate. So I think that's the origin of the bibimbap. It's more in this agricultural culture, people working in the fields and for comfortable reasons. You know, food is culture and culture is food, and with the bibimbap it's even more obvious. In the bibimbap you have this obangsek theory, the theory of the 4 different directions and colors that you can find very well in this reproduction. You see the different colors, the 5 basic colors of the traditional Taoist theory are found in the bibimbap. This is the basic of the aesthetics, the Korean aesthetics. And you know, I think with the bibimbap, you have the whole spirit of Korean culture, at least the spirit of the bibim culture, the culture of the mixing. What does it mean? You know, you can mix different elements, but the result should be harmonious. So this is the spirit of the harmony and balance through the mixing of different varied ingredients or elements. So it's not only in the bibimbap that you can find this bibim culture spirit. You can find it, for example, in the beautiful pojagi, you know, the patchwork, the Korean patchwork, mixing a lot of different clothes together to make a unique, beautiful piece of clothes. And that's the spirit of the bibim also, we could say. But in Korea, you don't only eat the bibimbap for medicinal reasons or for diet or because it's good, but also as a kind of psychological medicine. Have you seen in many dramas in Korea when the girl, you know, has broken with her boyfriend, she takes everything which is in the fridge, leftovers or the side dishes, and she mixes everything with her eyes, you know, like while crying, woo, and eating the bibimbap as if it was going to, not to bring her love, but at least to comfort her. But it's also the fact of mixing, you know, like, which makes maybe like more relaxed. Okay, so that is the anti-stress effect of the bibimbap, which I couldn't really expect, but that's quite interesting. Do you have a lot of foreigners coming here?
많이 오셔서 비빔밥 맛있다고 잘 평한다고.
I see that there is a great potential on the international scene for this dish. One of the most difficult things to achieve in cuisine, in general, simple and good at the same time. Finding the simplicity, which is at the same time the best recipe, the best, you know, you can achieve through simplicity. That's really rare, really difficult, and that's what I think the bibimbap embodies for me. Simplicity, yet a lot of refinement in it, and of course the delicious taste. That's something which is a piece of art, simply a piece of art. We are in the Nambu market, and especially in the part called the Namul-sijang. That's the place for the bibimbap. We are in the center of the Namul Munwa or Namul culture. What is Namul? Basically, it's all kinds of vegetables that you can find in the backyard of the house, between the mountain and the valley, here and there in the fields. Or nowadays, of course, we can cultivate them. And the word namul is also used to describe the varied seasoned vegetables that we find on the Korean table as side dishes and in the bibimbap. So this is winter time, so you don't have you know, the variety you could find in spring. For example, here you have the sedum that we call kongnamul in Korean. The right name is actually tolnamul because it's growing between the stones, or tol in Korean. And that's the hero of the bibimbap and of Jeonju. This is the kongnamul, which is the bean sprout. So I think we have two kinds here. We have one is the mung bean sprout, the one what you have in the West. You know, most of the time when we say bean sprout, actually we have the mung bean sprout, which is a smaller one, like this one. And in Korea, most of the time we have the kongnamul, which is the soybean sprout. So it's a bigger one. You see, it's a very big one. So to have a good one, which is not too strong, which doesn't have this very special kind of bad taste, you should find one which is not like this one which is closed, you know, and of course with a nice yellow color and with a strong texture. So you see here we are in the heart of the namul culture. Namul culture is very important in Korea, especially in the past. It was the center of the diet, and it was also very important because during the winter time it was one of the main sources of vitamins. We used to pick the namul or the wild vegetables in spring and in summer, dry them and keep them like that for the winter. So it was a way to go over the winter to the next spring. It was a kind of bridge, a dietary bridge between fall and spring. It's very important to find ways to survive. So the kimchi was one of them, the kimjang, you know, the winter kimchi. Another one was all the dried wild vegetables or dried namul. So this is the pangatgan, which is the meal where you can grind and roast. I mean, they can grind and roast for you the seeds, the red hot chili pepper, and they can make for you the sesame oil. So that's the sesame oil. Here you have the sesame seeds, the yellow and the black ones, and the oil. So let's go inside because I can smell that they are roasting the sesame seeds now. 안녕하십니까? 안녕하세요. Oh, that's exactly, you know, look at that. That's the roasting. Roasting the sesame. I mean, it came from probably Africa and India through China, through the Han China in Korea, and it has been used for at least 2,000 years, and it's a very important ingredient in Korean food. First, it's a wonderful taste exhauster, natural. It brings out the flavor of the other condiments and of the vegetables. It's very important when you make the namul. So that's a very important point. Second, it's very good for health. You know that in sesame oil, you have 80% of non-saturated fat oil. So it's actually good for the cholesterol, to fight the cholesterol. The roasted seeds before making the oil. That's a beautiful color. So you know, it brings a lot of oil, much more than I thought for this much of seeds. I wish you were here with me to feel the smell right away. Look at this one, for example. That's the bottle they are going to give you. At the end, you know, you have to look, to mix it a little bit and to look at it through the light. You know, it's a beautiful caramel, pumpkin, dark pumpkin color. You cannot smell it, that's too bad, but you know, like this kind of flavor.
이거 잡소시로.
아, 그래요? Oh, that's a treat. I can try it, he says. You know, that's something you won't find in your supermarket, even the best quality.
고소한 맛이.
어, 맛있죠?
예. 향이 나는 거예요. 고소한 향이.
Yeah, that's very important. There is no secret in food, you know. If you want to have good food, you have to have good, fresh, the best ingredients possible. And sesame oil is one of the most important in Korean cuisine. As I said, you put a little bit of sesame oil almost everywhere. It's in the namul when you do the vegetables, seasoning them. So that's one of the most important ingredients. This is the kongnamul-gukbap, the bean sprout soup with rice, another specialty of Jeonju. So you see on the table you have everything. It's a very simple dish which originated from the popular culture, very easy to do actually. It's a soup made with anchovy broth in which you put the bean sprout, you cook them together. So you know the origin of the name? Gukbap, it's cook the soup and pap the rice. Very easy. Very clear. You know, in Jeonju you have two kinds of kongnamul-gukbap. One is like this one, clear, and another one is with the eggs beaten inside of the soup. So if you don't feel like having the very spicy Korean food, like this red kimchi on the table, right away when you arrive in Korea, try one of these soup because you see it's not spicy at all. You know, it's quite interesting because in other countries, especially in the West, we don't eat these bean sprouts. We are used to eat the mung beans actually, smaller ones. And Korea is one of the few countries which have the soybean sprouts as a dish. And there is a kind of scientific reason for that. Actually, you know that in the beans, in the soybeans, you don't have any vitamin C. But as a sprout, you have a lot, which is produced during the germination. Actually, in one bowl, not this much, half of it, let's say, in one plate of soybean sprout, you have half of the daily ration of vitamin C you need. Yeah, I've heard that there is a lot of asparagine, which is an amino acid, which helps to control your metabolism before or after having alcohol. So it's very effective against the hangover. That's why you have always the kongnamul bean sprouts in the soups that we have with, like for example, the haejanguk, which are the soups we have after alcohol. And you cannot come to Jeonju without having, well, of course, the bibimbap, but this one also. For lunch, for example, simple, very cheap. So it's a perfect lunch. So, did you enjoy our tasty trail of bibimbap in Jeonju City? Well, actually, I did a lot, and I did like it also, you know, going around in the old streets of this beautiful city. Bibimbap, it's a wonderful dish, as you have seen with me. Actually, it's simple but delicious. And I've heard that in the Jeonju City, they are developing 101 new kinds of bibimbap for us to discover. Anyway, next week I'll meet you for another adventure, a new tasty trail in Korea. See you soon!